Yusuf Al-Hailu. I could be butchering that name, and I apologize for that. He's a British-Palestinian political commentator, and I think he probably might be in a better position to provide some insight and answers to your questions. So, Yusuf, thank you very much for joining me tonight. Welcome to the Mother of All Talk Shows. What do you think? What do you think about Tony's question? Is it shameful, the behavior of the West when it comes to the Palestinian people?
Thank you for having me, Scott. Well, I'm a Palestinian from Gaza. My whole family is in Gaza. What's happening in Gaza is utterly shocking, horrifying, unbelievable. Israel's disproportionate force committing all these atrocities, massacres in front of the world's eyes, and with light of condemnations. It's unbelievable that Israel is allowed to go on with its human rights violations. When Israel decided to attack the Gaza Strip, it wanted to inflict heavy damage and kill as many Palestinians as possible, and also to impose a collective punishment, just to punish Gazans simply for something that they didn't commit. Obviously, what happened on the 7th of October was a blow to the Israeli intelligence, to the Israeli army. And when Israel transformed Gaza into a testing ground, we using advanced weapons against the civilian population, and what happened last night is an evidence of that. Israel has got precision missiles that can target any spot across the Gaza Strip, killing 500 plus Palestinians. And also the notion that Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, this is it's a joke. I mean, if you claim to be a democracy, I mean the moral army in the world, then with the latest technology, you can't define who is a civilian, who is a militant. Until now, 3,500 Palestinian civilians have been killed. So I don't know what's the purpose of waging this war against the civilian population, and with the idea of displacing Gazans to forcibly ask them to leave. Where do they want to go? I mean, should they drown in the Mediterranean Sea? Should we go towards Egypt? My family is telling me that they don't have water, they don't have electricity, and it's barely, very difficult to communicate even via WhatsApp. Also, it's dangerous to go and stock up supplies. I mean, people, they don't know where to go. They flee this area to that area. They are being bombarded. They stay in their houses. They are being bombarded without warnings. We don't know what's going to happen next. If they invade Gaza, then they will kill more civilians under the pretext of fighting Hamas resistance groups. Where are they? I mean, it's really shocking why the world is allowing this to happen, why Israel is giving this green light, why Israel still behaving as a country above the international law, as a rogue state, why Palestinians are still being dehumanized, demonized, depopulated areas in Gaza. We don't know why Israel is giving this false propaganda, saying that the missile was fired from Islamic Jihad, and previously Hamas beheaded the babies and so on. So these propaganda are being exposed, and the world knows that Israel now is claiming these things in order to justify its attacks on Gaza.
Yeah, look, I agree that this is a horrible situation. I think but this didn't happen overnight. We talk about the inability of the world to see the Palestinians as human beings. We speak of them as statistics. Your family is from Gaza. 2 million people shoved into 150 square miles. We talk about it being an open-air concentration camp. Some people speak of it being a prison, although I've been corrected on that, because a prison is where you put criminals. And the only crime committed by the Palestinians is being born Palestinian in Gaza. But the Israelis have been trying to come up with this narrative that says, hey, life was good in Gaza. Life was good. We gave them 20,000 work permits. We were letting them out of the prison to go work in another prison, the West Bank, to make some shekels so they could come in and live the good life. Could you help the audience? Because I think many of them are people like me who know Gaza theoretically. You know Gaza personally. Your family is there. Could you give us a brief rundown of what life is like in Gaza? I mean, here, we're coming into the holiday season, and there's an old saying in America about politics, it's the economy, stupid. And what that means for an American is, do I have my home, my electricity, running water, comfort, my cars, I have my TV, I'm going to have a Christmas tree, I'm going to put presents on that, I'm going to go on vacation to Disneyland, I can go to the airport and fly away. Do the Palestinians, our fellow human beings, have the same quality of life as we do in the United States? Could you explain to people what's it like to live in an open-air concentration camp dominated by an abusive Israeli overseer?
Living in Gaza is like hell. It's unbelievable. People, they are denied their basic rights. As you put it, it's a concentration camp, but let's assume it's a prison. So imagine you live in your house and you live in your house forever. And if you would like to leave your house, you need a permit. And thinking of leaving Gaza, also this is a burden because you have to think of crossing to the Egyptian side, take transportation to Cairo, and so on. And then it's really ironic how the Israelis, they say, oh, well, we are providing them with electricity and water. I mean, we don't need, Palestinians, they don't need you to provide them with these basic stuff. Just leave Gaza alone. Just, abandon your control. And then Palestinians can take care of themselves. Palestinians are not beggars who rely on humanitarian aid assistance. Just, admit that you're still in control of Gaza's airspace, territorial waters, and border crossings. I was in Gaza last month, Scott, and believe me, 90% of people there, they don't feel they are alive. In some cases of, young people committed suicide due to lack of, jobs, and poverty is very high. The rate is very high. Unemployment rate is very high. They only have the Mediterranean Sea along the Gaza's 40-kilometer. Some people in Gaza, they didn't even see a plane or a train in their lives. Can you imagine? They only are allowed to live in Gaza, and they are not allowed to go and visit the West Bank or go to Jerusalem, whether they are Christians or Muslims, because they need also permits. So as soon as you enter Gaza, you feel that you are in a prison. Honestly, whenever I go to Gaza, I feel this atmosphere because you know that you are being watched, you are being monitored and controlled by the drones, Israeli drones above your head. You know that you cannot go beyond that fence, and you know that if you even take a boat trip on the sea, if you exceed 10 miles, then you will be shot at. If you go towards the eastern border, you will be shot at. If you go towards the Egyptian side, it's very complicated. So it's a bigger prison. Life is miserable. Only 5% of people, they enjoy the luxury places. I documented my trip recently. There are nice places there, cafes, restaurants, malls, resorts. But the vast majority, they are really, really suffering. Graduates, they don't have jobs. There is no vision of a future. You cannot plan for the future because each time and then Israel bombs Gaza. So if you build a project, if you build an apartment, a house, it will be bombed. You cannot plan for the future. So many things are really missing in Gaza. So many people in Gaza, especially young people, children, they did not enjoy their childhoods. Those who were born like 16 years ago, they experienced 5 wars in their age time. Can you imagine? What kind of, childhood is that? You are denied your childhood. There are many things are missing. Israel controls what goes in, what goes out, and allowing those 20,000 Palestinian workers to go inside Israel. It's pity. Just leave Palestinians alone, and they can take care of themselves. So why they just, give you? It's like they are making us favors by providing water, by providing electricity, and so on and that. So life is miserable. This is in short.
But it's not just that life is miserable. Again, just to bring up, because what I'm trying to do here is to humanize the Palestinians. I moved to the town that I live in New York because of the quality education system. We came here because we wanted to give our children a great education, because the education is the foundation upon which they're going to go forward and live their lives. But the education requires a stable home, requires a stable community. It's part of a community effort. In Gaza today, it's a population of over 2 million. Over 50% of them are children under the age of 18. Over 50% are children under the age of 18. You made an important statement. If my children growing up witnessed a car accident, one car accident, that was traumatic. It was traumatic. Palestinian children raised in Gaza, as you said, if you're 16, you've seen 5 wars. But let's be clear what 5 wars means. It doesn't mean witnessing war from a distance. It means your neighborhood being blown up. It means your friends being killed, your school being shut down, your teachers being blown apart, your family members wiped out. This is not stability. This is instability. This creates the most unstable foundation upon which to transform from childhood to adulthood. Earlier, caller talked about, the Arabs and radicalization. If you want to define a pressure cooker in which you will create radicalization, in which you will create hatred, take a child, deny them the normalcy of a normal childhood, subject them to 5 wars in their backyard where they watch their friends, their family, their colleagues, neighbors murdered by the Israelis, and then ask yourself, what did it take to make a Hamas fighter leave Gaza, go into Israel on October 7th, and do what he did? It didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened because of the conditions that Israel created. But I'm not justifying terrorism. What I'm trying to do is bring humanity to these children who are dying today. We need not just to give them names, we need to give them identities. We need to have people understand what is happening in Gaza, because only by understanding that, transforming the numbers from figures to humans, will we be able to sustain the pressure that's being put on Israel today by global demonstrations. The world today is rejecting the Israeli vision. But will they forget this in a week? Will they forget this in a month? How do we get the world to never forget about the Palestinian child who is being murdered as we speak by the Israelis with the support of the United Kingdom, with the support of the United States? I apologize for the emotion, but this is a difficult topic, and I don't think it gets the attention it deserves.
Well, the suffering has become part of Palestinians' daily life. Those people who don't have dreams. Do you remember during the March of Return 2 years ago, nearly, when young people were marching along the border, and when they are met with live bullets, over 300 people, most of them young people, including paramedics, disabled people, were shot at. Those people, they were expressing their anger, their frustration, that they do want to see their grandparents' towns and villages in historic Palestine. And they know that only this metal fence that prevents them from going there. And they were marching peacefully. So Israel, even if you are marching peacefully, then you are a target. Israel is provoked by nonviolent resistance, by peaceful demonstrations. Look, Hamas doesn't exist in the West Bank, and yet Israel kills Palestinians in the West Bank, Jerusalem, violating Islamic and Christian sites in the West Bank, grabbing more land, annexing land, building settlements, imprisoning Palestinians, stealing Palestinian natural resources. What else Israel wants to take from Palestinians? The oxygen? Honestly, because if you are under occupation, as you said, Palestinians, they are denied their basic rights. They only ask for a freedom, for self-determination, to be treated as human beings. Why you dictate on Palestinians how they live? If you think that you are God's chosen people, then they said it many times that Palestinians, they are snakes, they are cockroaches, and they don't deserve to live, and kill their babies in their mother's wombs. What kind of mentality is that? If your society in Israel is indoctrinated, if all settlers are armed, then this poses a real challenge here. If you would like to live in peace with your neighbor, then you have to recognize their right to exist. The PLO recognized Israel's right to exist. And many concessions were made by Arafat, by the current leader Abbas. The so-called peace process was born dead. Israel killed any chance for peace. That's why there is frustration, anger inside Palestinians who only want to, live as normal human beings. But Israel is keeping pressuring them, keep them in this cooker pressure. And then when Palestinians react, when the Palestinian resist, then they are pointed at and described as terrorists. I mean, even the United Nations, under international law, if any nation is under occupation, they have the right to resist. So even as I said, non-violent resistance is not acceptable. So what else Palestinians can do in order to express themselves and just say, look, guys, our hands up, we raise the white flag. It's not going to happen. Palestinians, they want to take their homeland or their occupied lands back. They just want to be treated as in a fair way. They want to enjoy their childhood. They want to enjoy their life. They want to be able to fly, to take. Israel destroyed Gaza International Airport in the year 2000. I was lucky. I flew from Gaza International Airport to the outside world. Israel destroyed the airport. We didn't have a seaport. Gaza seaport is the only seaport closed for shipping in the whole Mediterranean region. Can you imagine? We have 40 kilometers. We don't have a seaport. We are not allowed to have a seaport. We don't have a train. We don't have. I mean, Gaza is really like. Even some people say Zimbabwe is much better than Gaza. Can you imagine? I mean, Gaza is next door to Israel. Israel enjoys all the good things in life. They have fresh water. They have Can you imagine? They absorb the water coming from the West Bank in the aquifer just to deny Gaza its share from the water. Gaza people they drink salty water with high salinity. I mean, even now they cannot find water to drink. They cannot find fuel to pump their cars. They do not have electricity to keep warm. I mean, these are basic human rights. When you impose this collective punishment, it will not force Palestinians to surrender. It will really create this violence, this anger inside them, and they will keep resisting. They will not lay their arms. I mean, I'm talking about Hamas. So, if Israel wants to have peace in the Middle East, they have to end their occupation. They have to address the root cause of the problem. They must, create prosperity. They must allow Palestine.